Hello, hello, hello. Dr. Alan Harper here. Once again, I'm your Secure Vibe Coder, and we are here for another live Secure Vibe Coding session. We are working on an app called User Vibes OS, and you could see it right here in our screen. Again, it's called User Vibes OS. And the purpose of this app is to pick up user vibes in a one-stop shop for developers to pick up user vibes throughout the user journey lifecycle. So, as developers are building websites, they need to pick up these signals from users, whether they're attracting, qualifying, anticipating, nurturing, and so forth. And you could see them listed over here on the side. Now, currently, we're developing this in our local environment. And soon we will get this live, but we have some more things we need to do, particularly security wise, even tonight. And yeah, it looks like 3Ds joined us again. Hey, 3Ds, great to have you. And thanks for rocking it with us early where you're at. All right, so here we go. Last night we left off, and we developed and had this functionality working to where we had a JavaScript front end that was talking to the back end via API. Now, there's some issues with this that I realized after we implemented last night. I've been thinking about it, and we need to bolster the security of this, and I'll explain why. Okay, so as we have, let me just break it down here to make it easier to understand. So we have the client, and we have the server over here. And as we place an API key on the client end, any attacker can open up their browser, even like this browser, and they can right click and say inspect. And what will happen is they can see that API key on the client end. And so the first thing that we have to acknowledge is that there are two types of API keys. There are public and private. Two types, public and private. Now, or you might say public and secret. Now, so far we implemented secret, but what we really need to do is implement private, and we need to separate those functions and then show the user how to use them. All right, so we have two choices here. The first thing that we can do is we can put the public one, we can put the public API. Let's see here. Choice number one, public API key over here in the client and let it communicate with the server. Now again, that's the faster way to do it, but it's also got some security issues. Depending on your site, you may or may not care about that. Okay, honestly. But in our case, it's kind of like a medium use case. I do care that our users are at least aware of their options, and so that's the easiest thing to implement is a public API key, and we can make that easy on them. It's basically what we have now, except we'll switch it to a public key. I still want to keep the private key, and that gives them option number two. Okay, so option number two is to use the secret key. Okay, now what that looks like, what that workflow looks like is we have the client here, and they make a call to our let's see, we would call it I'm trying to get a word for the server that our users are implementing. So let's just say our users website. Okay, so remember our users are admins. Okay, so they have their own website. That's why they're downloading our widget to put on there. All right, and this is where the widget lives. Okay, so what we can do is we can have what's called a proxy server here. Okay. And then what we do is we still have our server, but our server communicates over here. So what happens is it goes like this. Okay, so we have that connection there. And then we have the client that's connecting with a proxy server. That proxy server makes a call internally on the back end to us. Okay. And so what happens is, and I depict this as two different services on the back end. So what happens is the client, you don't put any secrets in there. You don't need to put any secrets in there. Okay. You could still put the public API key, but you never put a secret key in the client. And then what happens is the client makes a request to the web server, and the web server then on the back end takes that secret key and makes a request to us on our server and then does its business. And that secret key is never revealed to the client. This is critical to understand. All right. So this is the secure way to do it. Okay. So hopefully I explained that well enough for us to go ahead and get implementing. All right. If you have any questions on that, just drop them in the chat. All right. Hey, welcome, guys. Who else joined us? Where are you located? Drop me a hello in the chat and let me know where you're from. I know where 3Ds is from. All right. So we got to make this change, right? This is why we're doing our initial build just on the dev server, right? Because, there's no, security issues here on my laptop. But before we get this thing out in the wild, we need to sort this kind of stuff out, right? And as we saw, AI will do whatever you tell it to do or don't tell it to do. And so that's kind of a problem, right? So that's why we have to be secure vibe coders. We have to be aware of some of these security risks. Hey, once again, I saw a few more people join. Go ahead and tell me where you're from. And if you want to find out more about me, go ahead and take a look at that free mentoring QR code up there. And you can drop into my free mentoring group. Love to have you there. And good discussions going on inside of there. Also inside of there, you'll find in the classroom a secure vibe coding masterclass that I developed. Okay. And also other opportunities to work directly with me inside of there. All right. So again, we are building an app. It is called User Vibes OS. We've been at it about 10 hours. Yeah, hey, I noticed that one of our viewers here is from Morocco. Hey, glad to have you. Glad to have you. It's early over there in the morning. Well, it's probably at least past midnight. Appreciate you joining us. All right, so we're building this app called User Vibes OS. It collects signals from the users at various points in the user journey lifecycle. Okay, we're focused on the IDA part here, which is a feature request functionality. And we've already built that out. We've been at this about 10 hours. What we were just discussing is we're going to have to change the way we've been doing the API. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Enough said. Okay, so we have our test site over here, but we also have our User Vibe OS site, and we are using Windsurf here with Claude Code inside of it. And what I want to do is I want to drop into a plan mode here. And what I want to do is I want to shift tab or control tab. No, not control tab. Shift tab and get into plan mode. And I want to go ahead and let this thing develop a plan because we're going to make a significant change here. So a good practice is, a pro tip is to iterate on this a couple times and put it in a document so that you can read it and understand it and before you have it implement. Otherwise, and that'll save you a lot of heartburn as you go forward. Okay, so let me speak to this thing and just tell it what I want to do. Okay, I want to update the security and use of our API keys in our app. And I want to develop 2 levels of security. The first level will be to convert our current API functionality and add a public API key. That would be a PK format. And and then have the users identify the domain that they will be coming from also in that API form. Okay. And then the first level of security would be to implement origin slash referral enforcement and rate limiting and browser fingerprinting and some behavioral analysis and alerting via logging. Okay, that's the first level of security. And I want you to develop a plan for this, a comprehensive plan. The second level of security, should the user or developer choose to implement, would be to improve their security by implementing and recommending JWT token use with a proxy server on their backend. Okay, so what we would do is we would have a toggle in the settings panel on our site so that they could turn on JWT token mode. And then we would instruct the user on the bottom of the embed page or the embed panel that if JWT token is enabled, how to protect their secret in an environmental file and develop a proxy server on their backend. And I want to show them at least two code examples, one in Next.js, another one in just regular React, and then go ahead and put one in Express format as well. And also allow them to upload a generated JWT token and test it, okay, in a form that we provide them. And then ensure that we handle those JWT tokens if they're enabled and make sure that they're one-time use on each token. Just handle that for them inside of our JavaScript. Okay, that's quite a bit. Okay, so I go ahead and hit return on that and let it cook. Okay, any questions on that or any questions on anything that I said? I know that that's a lot of security speak, and I'm again willing to explain any of that if needed. But again, while it's cooking, let me go back and just back up. I see we had a couple more people join. So once again, whenever we're doing secure vibe coding, that's what we do here, guys. So you can find a lot of people talking about vibe coding. They're not going to talk about the stuff that we talk about here. And that's a shame. And I'm on a mission to make these apps more secure one at a time. And that's through you guys, right? So we're going to do it correctly. Now, when it comes to APIs, there are two types of APIs. You have public and private API keys. So as their name implies, the public ones, you just understand that they're going to be out there in the public and they will be used and abused. Okay. And that's not always the worst case, but you just need to understand as a developer that your public API keys are public and people will grab them and they will do mischievous things with them. They will, for example, stand up their own little JavaScript and they would try to connect to your backend. They would try to spoof entries into your database. They would try to hit your APIs in successive manner and crash your site. They would do all kinds of weird things with those keys. Now, frankly, if you didn't even have the keys, they would still, you're still vulnerable to these types of attacks. But we are using keys to identify the users, and so this is something that we need to consider. All right, so we have public keys and we have private keys. Now, if we allow them to use the public keys, there's still some things that we can do to kind of slow down the attacker, harden our system or a site from attack, and make it expensive for the user or the attacker to work through that so that they go pick on someone else. And honestly, that's what we do a lot of in cybersecurity. There is no such thing as a 100% secure system, and run from anyone who tells you that there is. Okay, but what we can do, even though we can't block all attacks, what we can do is we can make it hard for them, and we can protect ourselves as best that we can. We can protect our users, right? And so some things that we can do is we can do rate limiting. We can also ask our users what domain or URL this is going to come from, and then we can check that the request came from that URL. Now, honestly, that's a speed bump to an attacker because they can spoof that. But the common attacker or somebody just trying to mess around, they aren't going to go through all that trouble. Okay, so but when you put the rate limiting on top of that, that becomes pretty potent. Why would an attacker sit there if they can only submit like 3 requests a minute, for example? Like, why would they sit there all day messing with your database, right? And then you put on top of that like browser fingerprinting, in which case like we can detect if they like spread that attack out to try to get past our rate limiting. Like sometimes what an attacker will do is they'll set up multiple browser instances, and they can do that in code. But we could detect that if we do browser fingerprinting. Then we want to do some type of behavioral analysis, which basically I told Claude Code to build a plan for all of that. Now, what that will do is essentially it'll take all those factors and it'll give them like scores. And if they're up over a certain risk score, then it will block them. Okay. And so that's what behavioral analysis would do. So that's pretty good stuff. If we can get Claude Code to work us on a plan like that, we'll be in pretty good shape. All right. So it's got some questions for us. For tier 1, public keys, PK format, should we keep the existing UV Live keys and add a new PK Live? Yes. Okay, so let's see here. I don't know what happened to my music's making some weird noise there. Hold on a second. My lo-fi went off the track. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. All right. So what it's asking us, do we want to? No, we want a new one. We want to keep the existing key. We want to add a new one. Yep, there we go. That's the first choice. Okay, see what else it asks. For domain whitelisting, should users be able to specify multiple allowed origins, production staging? Yeah, I'm cool with that. Three to 5 domains. That's a good idea, by the way. Thank you, Claude Code. For JWT token implementation, tier 2, this is our second level of security that we asked it to do. What should the default token expiration time be? And we'll put 5 minutes. That's fine. Okay. Should the behavioral analysis and alerting be real-time notifications or just logged for later review? For right now, we'll just say logged and with some dashboard notifications. Yeah, that'd be useful too. Yeah, that's pretty slick. Okay. And we'll put some couple things here. Post alerts to users webhook. Okay, now logs only, store events in a database for user to review manually. I think I like both of those. Okay. And we'll go ahead and submit those answers. All right, so now while it's cooking up a plan, let me go back to the diagram to further explain. All right, so again, we've talked about what we can do with tier 1 security. Okay, so that's table stakes. Like that's the least we can do for our users, right? And we should do that. And by the way, I doubt that the competitors are doing that. All right, now the next level of security is what we call JWT or Java Web Token security. And what happens is we have a secret. We've already given them a secret on the API page. And what they can do is use that secret to generate what's called a Java Web Token. And it basically signs the request and sends it to us using that private key. And then on our side, what we do is we check that signature. So we basically rerun the signature, and if they match, then we know that that was a legit request from our developer's site. Okay. And the other thing we can do is we make that a one-time token so that it rotates each time. And so we asked Claude Code to come up with a plan for all of that, and we'll see how it's doing. Okay, here we go. And by the way, it's telling us it'll take 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, if we were normal developers and didn't have AI, it would take a total of 7 to 9 weeks to do all of this. Yeah, it's crazy. But we're going to do it in about 7 to 9 minutes. We're going to still have a lot of testing to do. Don't get me wrong. We haven't even got to the testing yet, but that's okay. All right. So yes, auto accept. Build that thing. Build the plan. Okay. I'm just going up to take a look at the plan. It's basically going to put this all in a doc. Or if it doesn't, I'll tell it to. Wait, don't implement that yet. Store that plan in a doc for me to read. Okay. This is another pro tip. Like, see what it wants to do is just run off and start implementing. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose of planning. Like I want to read that. I want to at least skim through it and make sure for future use I have it stored somewhere. Right. Because we're going to come back, we're going to test this. And one of the things we'll do is we'll use AI to test it. We'll say, take a look at the plan here. How was it implemented? And take a look at the security aspects. Was it fully implemented? And we'll let another instance of Claude take a look at that. And as we saw before, it found issues when we did that before. And then we're going to use security tools like third-party tools like SemGrep and stuff to also check our code against our security plan. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just looking over here. It looks like these are changes from last night by and large. So what I want to do is, well, once we get to a stopping point, we'll make sure we push that up to GitHub. Right. Periodically, you want to push your code up to GitHub, so that way, if something lightning strikes or something, you fry your laptop, you didn't lose all of that work. Right. It's up in the cloud. You can always get it back. Right. That's best practice. Another pro tip. Okay, so we're vibe coding, guys. Okay, so I told it to write this doc, and it's doing that, and it looks like it's already done it. Okay, I've saved it. All right, let's take a look at it really quick. Okay, what did they call it? Two-tier security. There it is. I just refreshed my panel here, and then what I can do is I can open this file in Explorer view, which drops back to the main file view, and then I right click on it and say open in preview. And I just want to just kind of skip through this and make sure it did what I told it to do. Okay, so tier 1 is public keys, origin enforcement. Okay, so it's going to update the database, it's going to store some things. Okay, cool. Phase 1 backend, public key generation. Okay, enhanced rate limiting. Okay, good. Okay. I'm going to tell it to drop down these API requests. There's no need for our app to have this many per minute. Like probably 3 requests a minute should be plenty. Just for safety's sake, we'll maybe call it 5. But I can't see a user legitimately trying to add more than 5 feature requests in our app per minute. They're bad guy if they're doing that. Okay. Update the plan to make sure that the rate limiting is more on the order of 5 requests per minute. Okay, behavioral analysis. Okay, it's building a library called Security Monitor. That's cool. It's looking for sudden spikes in request, repeated failed validations, unuser request. Okay, create a dashboard notification when those thresholds are exceeded. And what this would do is this notification will tell it to make sure that we recommend that the developer rotate their keys if that's happening. Because if they're under attack, one of the things they can do is at least rotate their keys and limit the damage. Okay. All right, that update just happened up here. Okay, 5 requests a minute. Okay, cool. Okay. API key management. Okay. Okay. Okay, I don't want to deprecate the legacy key. In fact, I want to change that to SK for secret use. And we're going to use that for the JWT implementation. Okay, so it's going to update the plan for that. See, that's why you got to check it. Okay, cool. That's still all good. Tier 2 security. This is optional, but recommended. This will help us stand out from our competitors too. Yeah, see, it picked up the SK Live right here. I don't know why it was still saying deprecated. That's okay. It'll fix all that. So you want to get this plan pretty straight before you go ahead and tell it to start implementing. Okay, Tier 2 again, optional. Yeah, here we go. Converted UV Live to SK Live format during migration. Okay, good. SK is the universal, what you'd say, standard for how you name your secret key. So that if you ever come across one, like that's a secret key. You need to protect it. Okay. All right, so here's some examples it's going to give. Here's the Next.js. You don't need to know about this. This is basic, or just understand that these are examples that are going to be like in the dashboard for our developers. Developers, will understand this, and we're just making some instructions for them. Okay, standalone Express site. Okay, cool. In the future, by the way, what we can do is we can do like Python and Ruby and different other languages for our developers so that they can implement in different frameworks. Okay, so here's a test form for the JWT. Good. Okay, implementation order. Yeah, 1 to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna say implement it now, and don't stop until you get it done. Okay. Okay, go ahead and implement all phases, and don't stop until you complete. But do use ultra thinking. And make sure that you comprehensively implement these steps. Do not skip anything. Mark each one off in the document as you go. That's how you do it. And we take a break. I look forward to the day that this part gets faster. But I can't complain. We're going to cut 2 weeks down to 2 minutes. But it feels like an eternity sometimes when you're sitting here just waiting. But hey, this is the price we pay for AI development currently. But there'll come a day when this is like instant, right? We just tell it something and just that'll get faster and faster as these AI models improve. All right, so hey, what questions do you guys have while we're waiting for this thing? It's cooking. Again, I know, I hope I pronounced this right. Ayub is in Morocco. I know 3D's in South Africa. Who else is with us, and where are you from? Thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate it. Wherever you're at. Make sure that you like and subscribe on whatever platform you're seeing me on. I'm streaming on 4 platforms right now. YouTube, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. So no matter where you're at, go ahead and make sure you follow me, or maybe even find me on those other platforms too. I'd appreciate it. Follow me there too. Again, I'm on YouTube, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. We're live streaming on all 4 of those right now simultaneously. And if you want to find out more about me, go click this scan this QR code up here above me, or click the link down below. And you can join my free mentoring group. And inside of that free mentoring group, you can find in the classrooms access to the Secure Vibe Code Masterclass that I've developed, and also access to other mentoring opportunities that I have available for you if you need me to come alongside you and help you build your app. Okay. So again, thank you for hanging out. Thank you. Any questions for me about secure vibe coding? Anything at all about security and application development? I've been doing this 36 years. I've written 7 books on the topic of cybersecurity. 6 of them are the most famous books in hacking, called Gray Hat Hacking. I'm the lead author of those books. So I understand and have been for many years on the forefront of using ethical hacking to break into sites with permission, so that we can get them fixed before bad guys come and do the same. And so in many ways, it takes a hacker to beat a hacker. And I'm a ethical hacker. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that 3Ds. I was thinking the same thing. I need to add a new skill for this JWT here. And one of the things we can do is we can just, like, once we get this working, we can just tell Claude Code to write a new skill for us. How cool is that? And then I can add that into the Secure Vibe Coding OS. Yeah, hey, I could tell you're paying attention, 3Ds. I really appreciate that. You're turning into a secure vibe coder. I'm really digging that. Appreciate it. Okay, it's still cooking. See some of the other things on our wait list. Okay, so we're in this testing and debugging the rest of the prototype. This is the heart of what this app is going to do, right? So we're going to spend the most time doing this part right here. We got to get this right, right? I mean, there is no app without this functionality with the widget working securely. Okay, and so we'll do that. There's some other things I want to do. I want to change the board functionality so that it has default tabs. In fact, we can start another Claude Code and get that going right now. So what I'm gonna do is take this right here, and I'll just take that line. Okay, take that line right there and copy paste that into our Claude Code. We'll get another one going. We already have one over here. Okay, let's see here. Sometimes when you hover over it, it tries to get too much. Okay. We'll tell it to, hold on a second. I want to make sure I'm not in the wrong folder because one of these we told it to go over and do some changes in another folder. User sync fix. Where was that at? Must have been, I bet it was in the one we're in. Okay, I've done changes that to a single horizontal line. Yeah, I bet it was in that one we're in, but it's smart enough to know. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and do this. Change the board default tabs to backlog, doing, and testing, and done. Just 4. And then add the ability to change that by an admin. Okay. All right, so that's going to be a much improved capability because right now on the back end on our board, we've got like all of these, like there's what, 2, 4, 5 here. And some of these are like this one under review is unnecessary. So what I want to do is like what I put there: backlog, plan, doing, and done. Let's see here: backlog, doing, testing, and done. Okay, that's a very basic pattern, but I want the user to be able to update that if they choose. All right, so it's cooking. It's doing that. All right, do you want to make those changes? Yes. Okay. And just like that, we should see that update over here shortly. Let's go ahead and move that one out of there so that it doesn't delete it. Okay, yes, and go ahead and make the updates. Okay, that's to change the database up. So that's what it's doing right there. You see some mutations firing off. It's a pretty sophisticated change actually to do 2 things like that at once, and I'm kind of in my mind making sure that, like, we're not letting these Claude codes step on each other, but it could happen, in which case then we'll get a conflict and we'll have to, like, deconflict. Typically, what happens is the last one that writes wins. So we could actually put this change in, and then later, like it'd be gone, and that's because the other one stepped on it. Okay, so this one's still cooking. I told it not to come back to me until it was done, but we've seen this movie before. I I bet it's not going to fully implement. So because it was a pretty long plan. So what we'll do is I'll try to remember that as soon as it says it's finished, I'll say, okay, use ultra thinking to evaluate the plan against the implementation and tell me how we did. And it'll go back and inevitably it'll find some stuff. And sometimes I do that 2 or 3 times just to flush out all of those kinks. That's another pro tip. Okay, looks like that one's wrapping up. You remember, anytime we get near the end, it does this MPX here. Just want to make sure there's no errors before I go test it. And what this is, that's a TypeScript compiler check, and you can see it found errors. So now it's going to have to go fix those. It saves a ton of time. And that's one of the reasons why we love TypeScript, is because you can check it for compiler errors like up front. And really, these are syntax errors like in the language. And also, it's more than that. It's a strongly typed language. So like it's checking that, like, if it was expecting a string, that you're enforcing that only strings come through. And like, if you're not enforcing, like, it'll make you enforce. And that's called strongly typed. Other languages don't do that. Like JavaScript doesn't do that out of the box. That's why we use TypeScript on top of JavaScript. But again, that's just like a subtle detail that you don't need to necessarily know as a vibe coder. Just kind of understand what's happening underneath the hood. All right, so look, it says that one's done. Let's that second feature here. Let's see. Let's refresh. Wouldn't be surprised if we broke it. Okay. Now I'm wondering, sometimes what it'll do is for backward compatibility, it'll leave all of that. Let's add another one. Let's add another board and see what it does. That's actually good practice. Like, so as you're changing your app, you don't have to, like, go change those other boards. By the way, like, I think 3Ds, you said you used Postgres before. Like, that's a nightmare in Postgres. Like, what we're doing here is a nightmare, right? You got all these migrations. You have to, like, figure out, like, for backward compatibility, it gets really hairy. Okay. Perhaps you've run into that before. It's a pain in the rear. So let's see what happens. I'm still seeing 5 projects. Let me give it a screenshot. It says it did it, but it didn't. I'm still seeing like 5 panels on the board. I don't think you fully implemented this. Okay, let's go see how the other one's doing. Okay, still cooking. Creating the security dashboard. Oh, sweet. So we're going to have a security dashboard on the back end. How cool is that? Yeah, we like that. I like the sound of that. That's a good feature, by the way. That's going to end up on our feature, list. What we'll do eventually is we'll just tell Cloud Code to go get all of our features and compile that list, and then we'll put that on the homepage. In fact, we might do that soon, and then just iterate on that in the future. Okay. Back to this one. What was the problem? Sometimes I like to just scroll up and see it, admit that it made a mistake. You're absolutely right. Yeah, no kidding. I only changed the default columns for new projects. Now, that's not true because I started a new project. Okay, now it says it's fully implemented. Okay. Try clicking reset to defaults now on your board and it should show the new 4 columns. Really? Refresh. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Okay, go back and take a look at the other board. See if it happens to be over here under demo or something that they did it. Nope. It wouldn't be anywhere else. Front end, back end, what I built, back end. Boards column manager. I'm not seeing any of that. How to update your existing project. In the settings tab. Check this out. Now we have a settings tab where those columns are at. We said we wanted the ability to change it, and look what it did. Yeah, look at that 3Ds. Look. See? This thing is smarter than us. It knows what you think you asked for, but you didn't even really ask for all that. It delights you. Right? It comes up, it's creative. This, by the way, is why I don't like to do spec-driven design. Okay, it's still, that other one is breaking stuff while we're, okay, it's fixing it. But this is why I don't like to do spec-driven design, because see, spec-driven design would have had us like plan all of this and build this really long spec sheet and know all of this in advance, like know that I want to put it over on the settings tab and not, down, like I would have put it somewhere else that wouldn't have been as good, right? I would much rather just unleash the AI, let it do its thing, and then correct it. And more often than not, I'm delighted and happy about that. Then, it's just, you're kidding yourself out there, spec-driven developers. You're kidding yourself if you think that you know better than this AI and you can put AI in a corner and say, do not leave that corner. You can do that if you want. I'm going to vibe code a better app than you. Okay. And then, I'm going to take your business. So do that if you want. Like, I don't recommend that. I really think that you should unleash the AI, let it do its thing. And then, trust but verify. You're going to have to go back and pull the reins back every once in a while. I'd much rather do that than try to think that I could figure all that out in advance. Basically, what those guys are doing is they're trying to not give up that 30 years of experience they have developing. I'm just being frank. Okay. And that's a controversial thing to say. I don't care. It's the truth. And if they were honest, they would realize that there are ones that would disagree with me on that. And that's okay. It's a big, broad world. You go do you, I'll do me. But I'm telling you that AI is already smarter than all of us and more creative than all of us combined. And it's only getting better all the time. Like Sam Altman has said that he believes that it's better than 99% of the developers out there today. Well, that would include me. Okay. I'm not, the best developer in the world, and neither are you. So why are we kidding ourselves and trying to put it in a box? I'll never understand that. I really won't. Look at our page not found, by the way. Look, we got this out of the box with our secure vibe code OS. Look at that. It's pretty cool. I'm just moving the mouse. And look how it's reactive. Okay, so let's go back and see what's going on here with the errors. Okay. Okay, looks like our other thread broke. It looks like there's some convex stuff going on. Remember, we tried to make convex smarter. Let's see. Okay, Okay. And looks like we didn't make it smarter. We made it dumber in some ways. Okay, so let's see what that's all about. Okay, it says it's done, but let me go ahead and feed it this TypeScript error. We've seen this, right? Whenever we do something big, we usually break something, and increasingly, I'm seeing it's breaking it with Convex. And again, I think this is because Convex is so new, and it just really doesn't have a big database to draw on for it. But that's okay. That'll get better over time. It is TypeScript. That's the good thing about Convex. It's 100% pure TypeScript. So I promise you, it can figure it out. Whereas, like if you do Mongo and stuff, there's a lot of JSON calls. It's a JSON document library or database, and there's like a lot of JSON parsing back and forth of objects, and that's where a lot of your errors come from. Whereas we don't have that issue here, but we just have some unfamiliarity with Convex. And I also wonder if I had restarted this one and made it load our Convex, because I got 3 sessions up here. I might not have reloaded it right. Okay. We can fix that at a stopping point. We can just stop it and restart it. Okay, it's still cooking. Anyway, look at that. I love how creative that was. At the bottom of the settings page, now it lets us do this. Now look at this. I'll say reset to defaults and watch it switch to 4. Okay, look here. It's going to replace all columns with the new defaults: backlog, doing, test, and done. Warning, this only works if you have no feature request. Are you sure? Now I have a feature request in there, so it probably will say I can't do it. Okay, and what it did here, it probably gave us an error. Oh no, I got Convex. I got this Convex dev running. I thought so. Maybe it crashed. No, it's running. Let's see. That's our this right here is our JavaScript. I mean, that's our Next.js server. This is Convex. I can stop it and restart it, but it was running. Okay. In fact, I'm going to take this error and give it to it. Okay, it's still off cooking. Notice it says it's creating that JWT test form. It probably went back and looked at the doc and realized that it didn't do that. I'm gonna go ahead and give it the error anyway. It can handle it. It's a big boy. Hopefully you guys get a lot out of watching me work through these issues, because believe me, when you do your own app, you're going to work through similar issues. But what I want you to take from it is you don't have to be afraid, and you don't have to be intimidated by this Claude Code interface here. Just talk to it, tell it what you want, tell it what you don't understand, and tell it to develop a plan for you and explain the plan to you, right? And that's how you grow. And you're going to have to iterate. You're going to have to just get out there and get your hours in. Right? There's no substitute for that. Yes, AI is going to do 99% of the lifting, but you're going to have to spend now hours and hours like practicing with the AI to get a good result. And your first app is probably going to be horrible. That's okay. Your 10th app may be horrible, but that 11th one is going to make you rich, right? And that's what you got to get to. You got to get through the failures, because success is on the other side of failure. Never forget that. Okay, so now it's chewing probably on that error I gave it. What other questions you guys have? Where are you guys from? I see some more people join. Yep, so true. Iterative design is much better than spec driven. Yeah, much more fluid. I agree. Um, but look, hey, that's the controversy out there these days. Believe me, like maybe you've seen it. Maybe someone will join here and they'll start flaming me. That's fine. I can handle it. I'll just ban them. Like, there are people out there that this has become a matter of religion to them, and they can't stand the concept of vibe coding. It threatens them, and they just don't realize, if they were honest, that's what they'd realize what's going on. I'm secure enough in my development and my 36 years of experience to not be threatened by this technology. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to ride it for all it's worth. And I encourage you to do the same, right? Don't be threatened by this. It is, guess what? Spoiler alert, it's better than you. Okay? Get over it. Start using it and change the world. Become an Uber developer, get 10 times, 100 times more done, right? Don't spend those hours dumbing it down and putting it in a corner. Now, I do believe, there's a time and place for guidelines and guardrails on the AI. We've done that through the skills files. I don't see much need to do much more than that. Okay. I'm just not one of those guys. And believe me, like I said, I've built full upscale 200K app, and I'm about to build another one that's 33K. And using these vibe coding techniques and thorough testing, the proof's in the testing. Okay. The proof is in the testing. Even if you build out a big spec file, you're still going to have to test it. You're just doubling your pain. Okay. I think it depends on your thinking and the process on what works best for you. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But I can move faster this way than one of those spec driven guys. They'll spend 10 hours trying to get that spec right, fill up their context with all that, and then get a subpar result because they're limiting the AI to their own creativity. And I believe therein lies the problem. Now, when we had now where do we get spec driven development from? When you have a team of 5 developers or whatever, and some of them are brand new, yeah, you better document the heck out of everything, right? Before you set them loose in your code base. We're not dealing with that though. Okay. So to think that we're going to treat like this AI as a junior developer, like that's the wrong mind frame. It's the senior developer. We're the junior developer all of a sudden. That's the way I'm looking at it. Hey, that's just my opinion. That's okay. We all have opinions, right? They're like belly buttons. Everybody's got one. I'd like to put us in a race, though, side by side. You would see, and then see the end result. You're going to see which one's more creative, which one's going to have the better user interface. It's going to be this one. Okay. Okay, try this one again. Yeah, I believe this error is because we have that record in there, and we need to just tell it that, hey, I did a test with the record in it, and I got this error. So catch that in the future, and don't show me this error. Like pop up something saying, you have a record existing. That's the proper behavior. I performed a test, and I had a feature request in my database, and I tried to hit the reset to defaults to get back to the 4 columns in the board. And instead of it detecting that I had a record in the database, it threw a convex error that looked like this. Okay, come on. Okay. Sometimes this interface gets a little schizo. And usually I find that it's doing that right before it's about to crash, because it's filling up the memory. That's okay. Sometimes by changing the size of this window, it calms down. Dude, chill out. Okay, here it comes. Copy that in case it's about to crash. It's getting a little sluggish on me, and that's usually a sign. Maybe I have too many windows open. I have like 5 of these Claude Code or uh, uh, windsurfs open, so sometimes it's a memory issue. Come on now. I really don't want to stop it, but I think I'm going to have to. Okay. Hit a Control C here. Come on now, don't make me kill this terminal. This is technically, it's either a bug in Windsurf or it's a bug in Claude Code. Okay, right click, kill. Okay. I just pasted that one that I saved into there. Now we also have to tell it to go back and continue that document and make sure that it was fully implemented. But I want to go ahead and fix this one too while we're at it. Yep, it is running and I have restarted it. Okay, or if you're deploying to production, no, that's not what we want. If you would like me to check if there are any other convex function references that might need syncing. Okay, no, it's running. Convex dev is definitely running. You can test that, but yeah, there's something else going on. Okay. Okay, now we have another board over here that has no feature request in it. Let's see if it actually will let us change it. Reset to defaults. Same error. Okay, so it had nothing to do with us having something in there. Did you forget to run it? No, it's running. Interesting. Okay. Here's the errors right here in the actual, that's what we can give it. Convex errors. Okay, right here, what it's doing is probably Yeah, I'm not sure what that's doing. It's doing some kind of test. Okay, here we go. Several errors blocking Convex from deploying. It's missing an internal import. Okay, schema validation error. Okay, so it's fixing those. These are errors that the other Cloud Code introduced. And so therefore, our Convex is kind of in a broken state at the moment. But that's okay. So there's another pro tip. Whenever you're getting database errors, look at your database console and copy paste those errors in. Now, I must admit, if we were using Cursor, it would do that for us. And if I were using the pro version of Windsurf, it would do that for us. The downside of using those tools is you can't use the max plan from Cloud Code. So you have to go on the API plan, and that's much more expensive, especially for what I do. Okay, that'd be thousands of dollars a month. Where right now I'm at the $200 a month plan, and I think you could get by probably with the $20 a month max plan, or maybe $50. Is probably the most you'll need, unless you're building 3 or 4 apps at a time, like I am. In which case, you're making money and it's just a business expense. But until then, I think you can get by with the $20 a month plan for Cloud Code. That's what I'd recommend. Now, what it'll do is you can only work on it a couple hours a day. Well, that's fine. That's, go on with your life then. And then once you've built something, look what we've done with an hour a day over 10 days or 8 days. It's insane. You can build this app over a couple months doing it that way. And that's what we're going to do. It's not even going to take us that long. Okay, so here we go. Okay, what I want to see is it smart enough to notice that we still have a record in that one and give us an intelligent error back? That will be slick. And if not, then we'll tell it to. The other thing about the spec driven is it basically is boxing out a lot of people from getting started, because they don't know how to architect and plan, and they don't know what good looks like yet. So what happens is they get in a doom loop and an analysis paralysis, and they get confused and then just end up quitting before they even let the thing code. And again, you can tell I'm not a fan of that. I tried them. I actually tried a few of them out there. I'm not going to name them, but I thought, okay, yeah, I could maybe see some people liking this, but I don't like it. Okay. Getting to our favorite commands: TSC, TypeScript compiler check. Okay, looks like it's about to finish. How come at the end of our sessions we always get in this 10-minute thing where we're waiting for a bug to get resolved? I don't know. Problem's fixed. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, reset the defaults. Okay, dope. Same error. What we got here? Looks like a different type of error, but still an error nonetheless. It said 1 found. Okay, there's 2 found. Let's give it that. Okay. Okay, it says it found two different types of errors and it's fixing them. One's a key type error, the other one's a JWT error. You just want to say, why did you not find that before? But again, we've seen this movie before. Humans make the same mistakes, I guarantee you, and many more. Just takes weeks to find them. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, right click and kill it. Sometimes you got to just put it out of its misery. Take it out back and shoot it. I mean, sometimes you just got to do that. And I just right click and say kill terminal. I'd much rather do that and start over in another prompt than sit there and watch it spin for 20 minutes. Yeah. No, I agree. 3Ds. I agree. Have you built many apps, 3Ds? How long you been developing? Hey guys, who else joined us? Drop me a hello and tell me where you're from. We're just hanging out here, having fun. Again, if you're new here, check me out in that free mentoring link up there and also in the description. And inside of my free mentoring, you'll find a secure vibe code masterclass that I developed and also other ways that you can access me if you need more of my help. Okay. All right. Third time's the charm, right? Let's see. Hmm. Okay, we're going to have to get more specific with it. We're going to have to get serious here. All right, hold on a second. Not there. Your new board. Okay. Same error. Okay, let's see if it's the same error. Same kind of stuff. It does seem different. Before it was definitely different. We'll try it one more time. But what I'm going to tell it, I'm going to give it some more instructions. Okay, we seem to be going in a circle here. I need you to use ultra thinking and get to the bottom of this. Stop guessing, and you have all of the code and all of the convex code. Make sure that we're doing the migrations properly and get me out of this doom loop. Okay, in Claude Code, there's a special mode of thinking called ultra thinking. I think it was like leaked from not the source code, but somebody did like some reverse engineering a while back, like 6 months ago, and they found this special keyword. There's actually several of them. You could say try harder, think more, and then there's something called ultra thinking, and that's like the highest level of thinking. And so they're aware that people know that because whenever you type it, it actually turns a special color, like it's like special game mode or something. And it does burn more tokens when you do that, so you don't want to do it on every command. But it's kind of like, bring out the extra boost, right? And think harder. And it basically slows it down and puts it in a loop so that it checks what it's about to tell you before it actually does it. Okay, here it goes. I could see the real issue. There are multiple mutations. Okay, that doesn't sound good. That can't be in Node.js file. Okay, 3 of these. One's already moved. The actions can be in the use node files. Let me move all mutations out. Okay. It's this JWT functionality that it's tripping up on. We might just tell it for now, just, for tonight, go ahead and disable the JWT. We'll work on that another night. Okay, so that's the file. That's the command that's having trouble right here. It's up here under convex, it's right here. This file's got calls in it that are not permitted. Okay, you can see them, the red lines right here. There's errors in these functions, but that's okay. It's on it. Seems like JWT is pretty tricky for it. It's moving the dangerous or the ones that are crashing to this other file. You can see that note right here. Come on, Clock Code, you can do it. I'm counting on you. You never let me down. Hey, 3Ds, have you built many apps, or are you still learning? Yeah, hey, thanks for asking. We are building an app. It's called User Vibes OS. And let's see up here. We are building an app right here to collect vibes from the user throughout their user journey lifecycle. So when they hit our landing page, when we qualify them, we put them on a wait list. And then ultimately, once they become our customer, we want to collect feature requests for them. Okay, and we want to make a one-stop shop for developers to collect user feedback and these vibes from their users throughout the user journey, all the way up to recapturing those that are trying to churn. There's no app out there that does this in a one-stop shop. Okay, so we're building an app called User Vibes OS. It's for developers to get these user vibes from their users throughout the journey. It has a front-end JavaScript. It has a back-end with an API key and a dashboard, and we're using Convex to sync everything up. That's our database. Okay, in this session tonight, we've been working on the API keys. We had some bugs in it, and we had some insecurities with that. And we are secure vibe coders, by the way. That's what makes us different in this channel. And everything we do is with security in mind. I've been doing cybersecurity for 36 years, more than that, since before they called it cybersecurity. And I've written 7 best-selling books on the topic. You can check me out. Just Google me up. And I've taught at university. I've done everything. I've done everything in this field. And so what we're trying to do is make a difference out here and help people secure their apps that they're using with AI. Okay. Hey, I build various tools. Let me see. Cool. Let me put that up on highlight here for others to see. I made websites, ethical hacking tools. Awesome. Well, then you're probably aware of me, right? The Gray Hat Hacker. I wrote the Gray Hat Hacking series. That's my book. You can Google me up. Dr. Alan Harper. Check me out. Glad to have you. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you can hang out with us. We can show up pretty much nightly. Now, tomorrow night, it's going to be starting. We're going to be starting at 8:30 Eastern. Sorry, 3Ds. I know it's early. Well, you get an extra half hour sleep tomorrow, 3Ds. Yeah, I just have another commitment on Wednesday night. So we'll start at 8:30 Eastern New York time. And then all the other days of the week, I'm trying to go at 8 p.m. And it's been working out pretty good so far. Okay. I'm curious. It's Brody. Had you heard of me before? Or you at least heard of my books, Gray Hat Hacking? Okay, so now it says we have no errors. I don't know if I believe that. Let's see. We'll believe it when we see it. Okay, fingers crossed. Come on now. Oh! Same error. What are these other ones here? Okay, cool. You heard of me before. Cool. All right. Let's see here. What in the world? Convex should now deploy. That's not true. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I wonder if there's something we need to like restart. Let's try one more trick. Let's restart our web server and also restart our Convex NPX dev. Before I go nuclear on this thing, because what I'm about to do is just tell it to chill with the JWT right now. We'll work on that another night. Now I could tell right here when it was loading, it's still having these issues. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Nuclear option. Okay, hey, we're still having issues with the JWT. You can see here. I want you to just for now temporarily bypass the JWT. Do not delete any of that code, but I want to get past this so that we can debug the rest of the site just for tonight. We'll come back and work on this JWT tomorrow. Let me see before I do that. Hold on a second. Let me think about this. Because that might be more trouble than it's worth. We might just go ahead and end it and pick up the troubleshooting tomorrow anyway. Let's see what we've got here, what we should have. Okay, let's look at the embed. Okay, let's look at these changes. See, we can't test any of this because none of that stuff's working. Okay, so here's tier 1 public key recommended. Tier 2, okay, is to use the backend. Oh no. Tier 1's only going to get you on the iframe. You can only do tier 1. There's no real security, like real tough security in iframe. But on the web component, they can do the tier 2 maximum security. It actually didn't show those instructions though. Then over here, let's see what it's doing. Okay, no. All right, now the good thing is we put all the plan for the JWT in a doc. And so the two-tier security model, it's in a doc. So when we come back, we can say, hey, you know, continue debugging this and also refer to that doc. But what I'm going to do is one more Hail Mary before I nuke this thing. What I'm going to do is just tell it to take a look at these errors again and also compare it to the implementation doc and use ultra thinking one more time before we give up for it on the night. We've been at this for now an hour and 20 minutes. That's long enough. One day I'll work up the stamina and go like probably 5 or 10 hours on one of these weekends, but not tonight. It's a work night. Okay. Look, we're still going in circles. You know, I'm seeing the exact same errors and, indicative of the one I've copy pasted in here. I really need you to use ultra thinking and sort this out. I need you to take a step back and also look at the implementation document and see where we went wrong. If we are trying to do something that's forbidden in Convex, then I want you to not do that. I want you to also evaluate our Convex document that we have in the dot cursor rules file. So dot cursor / rules, and there's a convex _ LLMs. Make sure that you evaluate that and see if that helps. Okay, I kind of tried to scold it, and we'll see. We'll see what it does this time. What we might have to do is if we come back and work on this tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll probably, again, tell it to disable the JWT for now, part of the plan. And we'll at least test the other functionality, make sure it's working fully. And then we'll come back and attack this JWT with a fresh mind. Sometimes you got to do that. One thing that I didn't do here tonight that I like to do is I like to save to get more frequently. And then that way, like if I get down a rabbit hole like this, I just nuke it and just like start over. And I just basically give it the original prompt and say, try again, and it's non-deterministic, meaning that the next time it might just very well do better. And sometimes, you got to do that. And I've had to do that sometimes on bigger apps. Okay. I can see it's rewriting entire functions. Okay, you're absolutely right. Let me think more systematically. The core issue is files with used node can only contain actions. Queries cannot be in Node.js runtime files. Okay, the solution, validate JWT into a separate file without used node. Yeah, why didn't you do that before? Okay, so here's that. Okay, here's the separate file, and then it's deleting all of that and moving it over. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, cool. I'm reading here. It's Brody talking about a low key. Reminded him to finish my app I made. Oh, cool. Yeah, pick that back up. Android Studio. Cool. I haven't built an Android app. Someday. Cool. Yeah, so I'm using TypeScript. TypeScript sits on top of JavaScript and much better. It's a strongly typed language, much more secure to use that as well, um, because you have to define your inputs and your outputs. But more importantly, it makes it more robust so that you get less errors downstream, like less runtime errors. And it forces you to find the errors up front. And that's what we're finding, which is good. Yeah, so we're using Claude Code, and we're using Next.js, which is the most popular web framework out there right now, and we're using Convex on our backend, right? And so this is like the most popular stack going right now. Now Convex is new; it's like only like a year old, guys, and they just got venture funding and stuff. But like, it's already like getting super popular, and it's got like a lot of pros to it. It's a real-time database. It's written in TypeScript, and so it plugs right into your app. You don't have to write like all these API routes like we used to have to do for Postgres or Mongo. But the downside is like it's kind of new, right? So these AI models don't fully understand it yet. The good news is it is TypeScript, and we fed it a really long cheat sheet, which is an LLMs.txt file on the Convex dev site we found, and that kind of should help it, but we've got mixed results with that so far. So we're gonna keep working on it though. Let's see. Never quit, right? Never quit. Let's see what we got here now. In fact, we should just be able to check our console and see if these errors are gone or not before we even run it. Okay, so that's a good sign. Functions are ready. Let's cancel that and restart it. Fingers crossed here, guys. Come on, load those files up with no errors. Yeah, hey, I like that. Okay, all right, so the app should work now. We had no errors on the load. That's progress. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Now I'm still expecting it to notice that there's a record in there. Actually, I'm on the third one, so there is no record. And yeah, okay, it worked. All right, woo! Look at that 3Ds. I know he's been here since the beginning, so he knows what we're trying to do. We're trying to reduce this list of our Kanban board, and they have this button here to get it back to the defaults, which if I hover over here, you can see it's backlog, doing, testing, and done. And our original version had 5, and this button is what we've been worked on for the last 45 minutes, it seems, is to get that error gone, and it's working now. That works, right? So we were able to reset it to 4. Now, here's a big test. That's on our third app. Let's go into our either our first or our second one has, okay, this one has a feature request in it. Now, this should not work. Like, it should warn us. It should stop us from trying to do this reset because we have a record in there. Okay, see right here, it says warning, this only works if you have no feature requests. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, got an error. And that error is basically telling us, please delete or remove them first. Okay, so that's progress. So what we'll do is we'll say, hey, we got this error because, okay, hold on, before I forget. Okay, so we ran a test and we, just wanted to see what would happen if we had a feature request in our database and tried to hit the reset defaults button. And sure enough, it gave us an error, but instead we should capture that error and actually give the user a toast message, an error toast message, instead of throwing up on the web page. Use a little humor there. All right, let's see what it can do. This should be easy bug to fix here. Yeah, we're downhill now. Yeah, never give up. Sometimes I say that, but like, honestly, had I been doing what I typically do, which is store like often to get, I'm talking and stuff and it gets me off track. Normally my normal work pattern, like I'm saving to get, like every time I get success, I save it to get. And then like if I'm going 15 minutes down a rabbit hole, I just say, screw that. I just back out and nuke it and revert and then try again. And the next time I usually get a better result. And sometimes I tell it, hey, that didn't work. I'm reverting. I've reverted all the code for you. Now I need you to try that original prompt again and make sure that you avoid these errors. Because sometimes that's just better. And the LLM, like, Cloud Code will go, oh, okay, yeah, I've noticed that you've reverted to code. Let me try again. And you can do that. That's a pro tip. I do it a lot. Well, not a lot, like maybe a couple times a day. Okay, so now we're adding like error toast message. Toast is like that thing that comes across the screen at the top, or something depending on how you've implemented it. It basically warns the user they did something bad instead of throwing up on the page. Like, we don't want to throw up an error, and that's the last thing we want to do. And the errors give bad guys like clues, and we don't want to do that. If we crash the app, we just want to give like a vague warning to the user. Like, we don't want to tell them like too many details. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go again. What happened? Nothing. But that's better than no error. I'm noticing we have our security panel down here too, or at least we have this toggle for JWT. Okay, that's cool. Here's the tester. Okay, that's cool. Okay, and it comes on whenever we enable this toggle, probably. Doesn't look like that toggle is working. We'll get to that next time. Okay, back to this. Why isn't this reset? I'm not seeing a toast message. Okay, I'm no longer seeing an error, but I'm also not seeing the toast message. Fix that. What it's supposed to do is give us this right here. Cannot migrate. Project has one feature request. Please delete or remove them first. Okay. Okay, it looks like it's wrapping up. Let's see if it fixed it. Let me hit a page refresh. Sometimes, you have to pick up the new source code. Nope, I'm not seeing it. Let's look in the log. Let's look in the console logs. What I did was just right-clicked on the page, and I go into the console logs. Now, sometimes these errors are due to like things like all these plugins. I always browser plugins, so I'm not too terribly concerned about that. But what I can do is I can clean that out, and I can hit the resets the defaults button, and I see here. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it in the. So this is firing, but it's only in the console. Okay, paste that in. Okay, I'm seeing these errors in the console log, so we've made progress, but I'm still not seeing a toast message. Come on, man, figure this out. My wife probably thinks I'm crazy talking to sell AI all the time. She's over in the other room. Yeah. Hey, it's Brody. Make sure that you check out my free mentoring in the link below and go in there and join, contribute. Sounds like you're a security guy. That's awesome. And then also in there, you'll find my secure vibe coding masterclass up in the classroom, and love to have you in there as well. And I go into much more depth in there. But in this project, we're going to take this thing to market, and I'm going to take it from cradle to grave so that you guys can see it. And maybe someday I'll even just sell the app. I'm not sure. But we've launched this concept, and we're going to go find users. That's all part of it. I'm going to show you how you find the users, find where they're hanging out, attract them to the product. And there's a couple techniques for that. And I've sold apps in the past and done quite well with it. But this one is a big one, and it could solve a lot of people's problems. It might be worth a lot of money someday. So You guys are going to come along on this journey. Not often do you get to see something from the ground up get built that has broad use appeal like this app does. So I'm hoping that you guys come along. Okay, ALR for sure. I'll check it out. Okay, all right. I guess that's what you're saying. Cool. Okay, toast error. All right, let's see here. Come on now. Okay, I'm gonna clear the console logs again and hit the button. There it is. Cannot migrate. Okay, about time. Darn. I have the feeling that we filled up our context window, and like the AI gets dumber over time when you fill up your context window. So how we can check that is we can type context. Yep. See right here? Our context window is full. This is a bug in Claude Code. Like it shouldn't let us get this high. It should actually compact. This is why, by the way, we were having some issues here at the end. You notice how it was like not all that smart? It was like giving us like it should have figured out that toast thing like in the first attempt. Well, that's a clue that our context is probably filled up. So what we do is we just exit. And we load it up again. This time we don't need to do this continue. We just load up a fresh context. And honestly, that's a bug. It should never let us get that high. It's not compacting like it used to automatically. I ought to report that. But I also sometimes like that it doesn't auto compact. So I don't know if I want to report that or not, but it's a bug. So now if I put context in, you'll see that it's a fresh context. You'll see, okay, appears like a map of our context and it's pretty empty. See, but last time we were all the way up here. We had more than it should have. We were kind of overflowing our context, which is not cool. Again, that's a bug, and I really should support it, or I mean, I should report it. And so what I could, well, actually, that one's already full. I tell you what I can do. I can say resume a conversation. I'm gonna show you guys how to report a bug to Claude Code. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. A minute ago, there was this one. Okay, there. So now it's back into that context. I hit the /resume, and it picked up that old conversation, and it's full. So I can do this again, and it should be full. Okay, so that's telling us right there that that's a different error. But anyway, what I want to do is put bug. Claude feedback bug. I am noticing if I run one session in the Sonnet 4.5 with 1 million context, I can run one session for hours and it never compacts. And if I type context, I end up getting an error showing that it's too many tokens. But it doesn't compact like it should. It should auto compact. Can you guys take a look into that? Now, what that does, that sends off like this entire session, including the context. So they should be able to, like, it goes into their bug queue, which is kind of cool. And so now it's asking me to draft a GitHub issue. No, you guys do that. All right, cool. Now I'm gonna exit this and come back into Claude. All right, so there you guys see it. All right, hey, we've been at it way too long tonight, much further than I wanted to, but we never quit, right? I wanted you guys to see that, and I didn't want it to end that session. So I'm glad that we got to the bottom of that, and now you see how it's done, right? And I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys coming along. Yeah, I appreciate that 3Ds. I'm dropping gems all along. And that's when you get them, right? Like, you can read a book or you can watch somebody's YouTube video. They don't show you this stuff, right? And then you get stuck and you're like, how do I go forward? Well, now you're learning how to go forward and how to just kind of grind through it. And also what I'm learning is like these little things like the context window. Like I'll try to remember that, so what we'll do going forward, and remind me if I forget 3Ds, like, until they fix that bug, like we will occasionally just restart a new context. And what you'll find is the first half of the context window, the LLM is really smart and really snappy and really sharp. But once you get up over that half of the context window, it gets dumb. They call it regression. They don't really understand why it's doing that, to be honest. But the best practice is to not do that, not to fill up more than half of your context window if you can avoid it, because it just kind of it gets dumber. And I should have known that, but again, I get talking and stuff, and I forget some of the things I've already learned. But that's okay. We're a team, right? So you guys tell me if I forget that going forward, and I will appreciate it. All right, guys. Hey, I've had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well, and you be blessed by the best. I will see you guys